You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Hey, welcome to the very first episode of Extra Paycheck Podcast. I can't believe this is finally happening because I've been wanting to start a podcast for about a year now, and I've spent the last 3 to 4 months actively learning everything I thought I needed to know about starting a podcast. It was mostly technical things such as how to record and edit the audio, how to find proper hosting for a podcast, how to create and submit feed, and so many other things that I didn't really know how to put them together and how they work, as well as selecting the proper format for the podcast. A lot of learning and a lot of new things in my head right now, but it was all worth it because right now in April 2015, the podcast is finally launched and you're listening to the very first episode. So thank you very much for being here today. In this episode, I will be doing an introduction of the podcast, introduction of myself as well, and I will be explaining the format of the podcast so you know what kind of content you should expect in the future. So let's start with the introduction. I am Alex, the owner of extrapaycheckblog.com, and I've been a full-time internet marketer since 2007 already. Wow, that sounds like so many years ago. In October 2015, I will be celebrating my 8 years anniversary online, which sounds so crazy to me. Time flies by. So here's my story. Back in 2007, I was getting really fed up with my 9-to-5 office job, and I knew there must be a better way to lead a life. This is when I started looking for money-making opportunities, I guess, and the internet was the first thing that came to mind because I've heard of some people making money online. I didn't really know what exactly they did, but I've heard of some people making money with Google and some people making money with eBay. And I thought, well, if others are doing it, I could do that as well. And this is when I started my search on how to make money online. And as many of us, at the very beginning, I fell for a lot of scams and schemes. See, when you're desperate to make money and you're just starting out and you don't know any better, and somebody presents you a promise to make you rich overnight for only $47, well, you jump on it to only realize later on that that promise wouldn't be delivered. So with time, I realized that in order to make money online, I would have to invest my time, my efforts, and I would have to take a lot of action. And there's no shortcut to millions. There's no magic button. Basically, I realized that I would have to work for that money, which I really didn't mind. The big problem was that, just like starting this podcast, I had no idea about anything online related. I didn't know how to set up a website or how to create a link or how to create a blog post. The terms like SEO and CTR and PPC were completely new to me. I had no clue what they meant, and I had to learn everything from the very, very beginning. I am saying this to kind of reassure the total beginners that everything is possible. You don't have to be a web designer or a marketer or anything else in order to succeed online. You'll just have to spend more time learning new things, but you can learn them. I did it at some point, and you can do it as well. So at the very beginning, I started with affiliate marketing, and that's been my main model, I guess, over the years. Besides affiliate marketing, I've also tried CPA marketing. I've tried offering marketing services to local companies, which I still do from time to time. I don't advertise these services, but if somebody approaches me because they've been referred to one of my previous clients, I could make them a website or help them out with their online marketing strategy and whatnot. But as I mentioned, I don't actively promote these services because my main goal is to stay online as much as possible, because as I feel, an online business gives you a lot more freedom than any kind of offline business or working with clients. I decide on my own schedule. I decide when to work less, when to work more, and I just feel like I have a lot more control over the whole business in itself. So when I started learning about setting up websites and using affiliate marketing as a moneymaker, it took me about 2 weeks to make my very first commission. I've earned $32 or $34. I don't remember exactly. I just remember there was about $30, but the amount is kind of irrelevant because what that commission did to me, it made me believe that it's all possible, that you could actually honestly make money online without scamming people. And I thought, well, if there's one sale, there could be 10 sales. If there's 10 sales, there could be 100 sales, and so on. So from that one single sale, I was completely hooked, and I've spent a lot of time since then building my online business. I've tried many different strategies. I've sold tons of products and services, and I plan on keeping that online business as my main source of income because this is something I really enjoy right now, and this is something that I really know well at this point. So one of the reasons for starting this podcast is that so I could share my knowledge, my experience with my listeners. So when I started making money online, I had a lot of friends and family as well asking me how exactly it works and how they could do the same. And after explaining the same thing over and over and over again, I've decided to put up a blog, which is extrapaycheckblog.com. I wanted to direct all those people to my blog so they could read and learn by themselves without forcing me to explain it again and again and again. So this is how Extra Paycheck Blog was born. Eventually, it grew into something bigger. It grew into a platform where a lot of people from around the world are learning from me. And I really enjoy blogging there. However, I've decided to launch a podcast. The main reason being is that I enjoy listening to podcasts, and I've been listening to 3 or 4 podcasts for the past 2 years or so. And I think a podcast is a really great way to share the information. People could listen to a podcast while they're commuting to work or to school. People could listen to a podcast while working out at the gym or cleaning their house or taking a bike ride. Regardless, podcast information is really easy to consume, unlike reading blog posts or ebooks, which I personally do as well, and I do a lot of it, but I think the podcast is the best way to share information right now. So yeah, that's the main reason why I'm starting a podcast, so I could share my knowledge and my experience with everybody else who could be interested in starting and growing their own successful online business. Now, let's move on to the format of the podcast. I'm doing this episode alone because this is an introduction episode, but most of the episodes of the show will be in the format of interviews with other people, with other successful entrepreneurs, online or offline. But the main requirement for my guests is that they use internet as the main tool to grow and build their business. So sometimes we'll have the owners of brick and mortar stores, but who used internet to get a lot more clients. Some of the other guests will be people who concentrate only online, and all of their sales are generated online. More importantly, my guests and I will be sharing our strategies, and we'll be explaining to you, the listener, what works and what doesn't work in online marketing, online business, and internet marketing as well. I am planning to release 1 episode of the show per week, every single week, and I will be doing that on Mondays, so you know when to expect new episodes. I would also provide show notes for each episode, and the show notes will be available at extrapodcast.com. For each episode, I'll have a special link. So let's say for this very first episode, episode number 1, the link to the show notes would be extrapodcast.com/1. This is where you'll be able to also leave your comments, ask questions, and get more information on the topic of today's episode. So the next episode Number 2 will be coming out next Monday. So stay updated. I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope you will enjoy the future episodes of the show. If you want any information on me or the podcast, simply go to extrapodcast.com or extrapaycheckblog.com. This is where you could easily find me and get in touch with me. Thanks for listening to this very first episode, and I'll see you in a week.